Cyber attacks are becoming an unfortunate reality for Australian business, with the self-styled hacker stealing customer data from Origin Energy this week. It is just the latest in a string of data breaches that we have seen in recent times. And joining us to discuss this on The Debrief today, Annabelle Brett from Mix FM on the Sunshine Coast and Nick Hayes from Media Stable in Adelaide. Hello to you both. Annabelle, I'll start with you. Do you think the government's ultimately doing enough in this day and age to protect us, to protect our data, which is worth an enormous amount?
I mean, it's a really important question, Sally, for sure. I just don't know how much comes onto the government as opposed to these private entities who are making billions of dollars every single year. It is not lost on us at all that as we're going through this period where it feels like we have a data breach every single week, multiple with huge corporations, we're also being asked to share more information than ever before. I mean, if an airline loses your luggage, you're usually compensated. At what point are we going to get compensated as customers? And I'm not just asking that because I am an Origin customer, but I will drop it in there as well if they feel like hooking us up.
I think, it is an important sort of question for the government to answer, Nick, because at the end of the day, the private sector doesn't have the best track record when it comes to that regulation of doing the best practice. So do we need to do something more to protect us? Because as, Annabelle said, we have to hand over everything these days.
Yeah, we do. And look, this is a branding and an issue there for the reputation of these big companies that do hold our data. They are treating this very seriously, but it actually could be a problem that's actually beyond them. And at the moment, the hackers and the way that they go about it, they're ahead of the game far further than what a lot of the brands or even governments are trying to keep up with. So it's a big challenge. The government does have to get hard on it, but the brands themselves have to get stronger on it as well. This is their Y2K moment. This is a big investment that they have to put in to protect the data and to protect their reputations.
Yeah, and we've talked about technology being able to help in these scenarios, like using digital keys where you have something where you don't have to hand over, it's like your 100 points of identity, which then you just use a digital key when you're asked for verification. And yet, years later, I think we're still talking about this and nothing seems to be rolled out. So some real gaps still there in the market, I'd say. All right, let's move on, because a growing number of mums and dads are introducing structured learning to activate babies as young as 9 months old, hoping to boost language, memory and cognitive development. Terrifying to me. Annabelle, do you think getting a head start at 9 months, this is the optimisation era gone absolutely nuts in my books. What do you think?
Absolutely. My daughter's nearly 2 years old, so I've been navigating this for quite some time with other parents who get really anxious and stressed. It's like a race all the time as to whose kid's achieving what at what time. They don't hold on to this information. There's heaps of studies to show that. I don't really understand why it's important for your kid to be learning about quantum physics, with the exception of them learning how quickly it takes for them to throw their food onto the ground. Kids have their whole lives to be assessed. I don't know why we can't just let them be babies when they're babies.
Yeah, Nick, do you just think this will lead to a burnt-out generation?
Oh, you know what, Sally, this says so much about the parents, not so much about the kids, just the parents and their attitudes and the way that they're going about it. Let the kids be kids. As Annabelle said, it's just a small window, an opportunity. Just grow, don't put, if the food goes onto the floor or whatever, that's the biggest issue that we should be facing, not whether they're actually able to do an algorithm before the age of 2. It's just let kids be kids.
Yeah, it's a whole new world out there. This one might not be to your taste, so to speak, but just a controversial ingredient has landed an Aussie Michelin-starred chef in hot water in South Korea, potentially facing jail time for this, serving guests a dessert topped with ants. Now, he says he was unaware ants were not approved for consumption there. It is a weird story. Annabelle, can I ask, would you try it? And what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Ants, would you give it a go?
I weirdly have to admit to you, this morning I ordered a bottle of ant sauce because on my radio show we were talking about the fact that this is a really popular growing product as an alternative for soy sauce. So I'm going to give it a taste. I don't think it's my bag. This is the level of rich that we're getting to now that they're like, let's add ants to dessert for
I'll
citrus.
give you those for free.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I've got some in my backyard. Lemon exists. You can have that for free. My daughter tried to eat an ant the other day and I stopped her. Little did I realise she was just being bougie. bougie.
She's got a very fine palate, your daughter. Nick, do you think, people should be warned, though, about what they're eating, where it's come from, the origins?
Oh, look, yeah, possibly. But I can tell you this. I mean, if it's a $20,000 fine for serving up ants, it's just received $250,000 worth of publicity now that I want to go and check out this restaurant and go and try this actual product. So well done to them. This is a great exercise in marketing.
Oh, you're
we should do a Channel
one.
7 trip, the three of us.
Yeah,
Let's go.
You know what? I'm available next week. Let's go. All right. Good taste, the both of you. Okay, thanks, Nick and Annabelle. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, Sally.